Sync 366 video series. It is Wednesday here in California, and today's topic is on fracturing. This is a massive topic to take as an undertaking for this video. But before I go into this topic, let me start by saying I use a process called energy psychology, and energy psychology is the integration of both the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies to bring us back into alignment with our hearts, our souls, for our purpose here in life, right? So when we have any aspect of our bodies being misdirected or shut down, or whatever word you want to use, when that is occurring within us, it can cause a great deal of confusion and upset, and it can cause a lot of discord. And that's what I help people do, is bring them aligned. Good afternoon, Peter. I'm glad you're here for the beginning of this one. Hi, Vishal. Because this topic is very, very complicated, and I'm going to try and do my best. I took this from the question, why it happens, why emotions don't start working after something happens and we can't quite reconnect. So when there's prolonged distress and emotions get switched off, why does this happen? Why do emotions don't start working after something is over, and how exactly does it happen or work? So that is the aspect that I'm addressing today. Hi, Eric, good to see you. Hey, Amish. That is the aspect that I'm going to be addressing today, and it's called fracturing. So when we have a soul fracture, when we have mental fractures, and I mean more than one, okay, so it happens in a lot of ways, but soul fracturing, mental fracturing, emotional fracturing, spiritual fracturing, it's a lot of points, right? So if you can imagine a mirror shattering, that would be what a fracture looks like within the energetic field. It can look like that. That's how the soul could look, the emotional body, the spiritual body, the mental body. All these different bodies could all fracture from a point of trauma. So now, does the trauma need to happen in this lifetime, or can it happen in other lifetimes? Or is it a yes and? It is a yes and. So whether you believe in past lives does not matter because we have many different identities. And when we have different identities, they need to be integrated into one. So even if we live in multiple countries and different languages, these all have different expressions. Our soul has an expression, our emotional body has an expression, our mental body expresses through the emotional and the soul, and so on and so forth. So it's a very integrated process. So the question was, why would something get switched off? Well, because we have switches, one, and if we don't switch things back on, they stay off. That's one way of looking at it. And also when we are fragmented in such a manner to which we have not integrated all the pieces of ourselves, our different identities. There is something called an identity matrix. And if we don't bring all these aspects together within ourselves, then we, sorry, I'm getting distracted by all these bots in the chat. When we don't bring these aspects together, we continue to operate from fragmented states. This will be one reason why it is so incredibly difficult for people who do not know how to emote to emote. The switch is just simply turned off. And if it gets turned on in one aspect and it didn't get turned on in others, so it doesn't know how to regulate because it's not fully integrated. So these different aspects of ourselves need to come together and be integrated. They do that when we become aligned, when we consciously choose to integrate ourselves, when we make conscious choices to become whole again, right? When we decide, and a lot of this is done through our conscious choice, and the lack of consciously choosing is also an aspect of this. We will continue to try and operate fragmented, i.e. try to survive, also known as getting through, or I'm just, there's those people that just push through things, and they're bruised, battered, and exhausted on the other side. So there's so many different ways in which to look at this aspect of fragmenting. It could literally blow your mind. But one thing that I want to say is that often people who either refuse to address their traumas, they try to address it through pharmaceuticals or traditional methods that do not address the spiritual aspect. It's really challenging to come into your wholeness. In my experience, when we try to do things from a traditional method, it's very one-dimensional. When you're addressing things from a energy psychology, it's multidimensional because we're multidimensional. We're just not singly focused. We're multidimensional. We have extrasensory abilities. We have different components and aspects of ourselves that must come online. And if they don't come online, the soul will continue to be wounded. And this is what causes soul illnesses. So soul illness is when people have essentially, they just are so fragmented and they can't see, sense, or feel their way into a new possibility. And that's not that they can't be in a new possibility, it's just that the traditional methods do not allow for that. So to answer the question, why do people get stuck or switched off? It's because of fragmentation, and also because we are often like a biocomputer and we have switches, and those switches have not been turned on, or they've been switched off and they're locked, and we need to unlock them. So I'm going to go and see if there's any questions. We're going to go up to the top. I'm going to kind of weed through all the spams on here. And good to see you, Peter. Hello, Sam. I'm glad to see you here. Hi, Eric. Good to see you. Amish. FBI. Giving up. Dino, I don't know why you would give up. Don't give up. We can't ever give up. We just gotta live our best life. So, Peter, I'm going to look for questions. Hi, Rosa. Good to see you here. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I am taking care of myself. In fact, I woke up early to do some sessions, and I had to take a little siesta today. Peter. Okay. So, Peter, I'm looking for questions from you here. If anybody else have questions, of course, on fracturing. I was answering one specific question that I wanted to make sure I get to, but it's such a big question. How do I integrate how do I integrate LGBTQ cheese block into my soul? Upstart, I don't even know what that question is, but I would suggest that that would be fragmentation. That would be what we're talking about. So ask another question more specific. Dr. Snorkel, I do not do tarot reading, so you're on the wrong channel. Perez is saying, give me tips on working even if I'm feeling tired. The first tip I would say is cut off all the siphons. Call back all your energy. Do not allow anybody, anything, any situation to be siphoning your energy. And you simply do this working in conjunction with your conscious choice and your higher self or your God self, whatever tools that you have spiritually, and you cancel all agreements to have your energy siphoned. That would be one small thing. The other thing is to take a nap. The other thing is to listen to your body. What is your body telling you? Why are you so tired? What are you ignoring? Those are a couple other things. Okay. Oh, these spots. Okay. I don't do tarot reading. So Snorkel, you got to go to another channel for that. There's plenty of them out there, and that's not what I'm doing. Dolly. Oh, I missed it. What are you saying, Dolly? We need more women like her who can connect with spiritual powers. We all have that within our heart. Why do we do what we do? That's a great question. You should understand why you're doing what you're doing. If you're not understanding why you are behaving the way you're behaving, you need to get more and greater awareness. Hey! John Henry. I actually thought I knew you, but he doesn't talk like that. Oh my goodness. Hey, Oliver, good to see you. Thank you. I mean, that's how many, I couldn't even see you on here. Tyree is saying, how do you get unstuck? Well, first you got to see where you're stuck. You got to have awareness, where are you stuck? And then you can make conscious choices to move out of that pattern. Thank you. You like my glasses. Thank you. Peter, by the way, Peter, I just lost your comment. Peter is saying, by the way, you can click on commenters of your choice, 3 dots towards the bottom. Oh, I didn't even know how to assign a moderator. You can click on the commentators of your choice, 3 dots towards the bottom will be a moderator option. Enable the moderator option function gives viewers the ability to remove spam and troll. Okay. Oh, I don't have it on this. I have the 3 dots, but I don't have the option to do that. I think I have to be on my computer. It's just saying There's no moderator option. So I will do my next live on my computer and fix this. I'm so sorry. Noah is saying, I don't know. If you don't agree with what she's saying and these comments are gross, this is a real person. It's hard to know who's real and who's a bot. Get a life. Peter, okay, can family bloodline trauma... Oh, Peter, good question. I'm so glad you're here. And okay, let me go to Cloud Queen. Am I a programmer? I guess the answer is yes, but not a traditional programmer, because we are a biocomputer. And when we understand how our energy works, and we program it. We can program our field, we can program ourselves, we can program what can come into our field and what can go out of our field. When we are more aligned, we can do these types of things. Yes, so am I a programmer? Kinda, sorta, yeah. Do I clear things for my clients? Yes, I do. Is that as simple as Control Alt Delete? Not in the beginning, but it is getting that way. It's much easier when you have a pure connection you could see, sense, and feel. Okay. Can family bloodline trauma show up in someone's life? 100%. Yes. There's a lot that happens in our bloodline. There's a lot of everything that happens in our bloodline. Our DNA is in our blood, right? So yes, it's transferred, and it can be transferred, and it can be switched on or switched off, depending on what's happened. So there are triggers that can happen in your life that would flip on an activation or a part of your DNA that would send you into what's called another timeline experience. So there's so many things that could happen. But yes, lots of work within the bloodline is very helpful in healing. Everything comes back to our blood, right? So we want our blood to be clean, pure, communicating. And, back in the beginning of my healing work, a lot of people used to call parts of their DNA, I think doctors did this, they used to call it junk DNA. And we had carbon DNA, and then we had crystalline DNA. And there was strands that they would call junk DNA. And those are obviously not junk DNA, because there's no junk in our DNA. There's just opportunities for understanding, healing, and consciousness evolution. We do not have junk DNA. There's nothing about our DNA that is junk. It is part of our lineage. It is part of how we operate in this life, right? We get it. But so many people give it away. And by give it away, I mean they give up their authority, attention, and consent to the DNA, and therefore the DNA can be manipulated. And I will say I'm seeing a growing trend, and I would say this is a concerning growing trend, that a few of my more recent clients have all, and this is something that's come up in the last, I would say, definitely within the year, but more so in the last 6 months, that clients that have medical issues have been getting their DNAs done, checked. I know it's been happening for many years, but it's something that I'm seeing that my clients have been getting diagnosed as something wrong with their DNA, and they got this disease because their DNA, and then they're brought into experimental programs and given medicines for this proposed perception of this glitch in the DNA. I think that's a growing trend of DNA manipulation, and I am definitely not a proponent of that. I think, what a profession might see as a glitch in the DNA could also be a distortion in their perception, and also a lack of moral and ethical integrity. That's my personal opinion. It's my channel. I can say that. I think it's a dangerous thing, and I think it costs lives. I think it's not going to save lives, although I think a lot of people think it has the potential to give them more life, but at least in what I have seen, it is actually doing quite the opposite. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Peter. Did I give you enough information on that? Let me know. Also, trauma. Trauma, okay, this is a good question, Peter. I want to go back to it again because somebody else asked another question. I just saw it yesterday. Can past life trauma, why would it come up in this lifetime? All past lifetime blips, if you will, if you're aware that a past life is coming into this life, like there's a merge or there's an opening, it is always coming up for your healing. The only reason a past life is going to come up is for healing. There's no other, at least from my perspective, reason that it would be coming up. What needs to be healed, what needs to be learned, what needs to be brought to your conscious awareness for healing and learning. So as you can see, this fragmentation is quite a big topic. Cloud Queen, Dank Night. I don't know what OF is. Cloud Queen is saying, how do I fight a narcissist? You can't. There is no fighting that there. When you have an ego to ego battle, so the fact that you're even wanting to fight a narcissist is ego to ego battle. When you get into an ego to ego anything, it's a lose-lose situation. What you want to be is the one who's balanced, right? And the one that is seen not from the mind or the ego, but from the heart. And so how do you win a fight with a narcissist? You stay in your heart. There's no fighting when you're in your heart. They can have their opinion. They can have their thoughts. They can have their experience and their stories. The narcissist will always have it, whether you fight with them or not. So why would you even waste your energy? That's what I would ask. Why waste your energy? It's a waste of energy. A lot of contentions with narcissists will be a waste of energy, but people try. Why do people try repeatedly with narcissists? Because they are in their ego and they think that because they see them as who they are, that they can't be entwined in the web. There's absolutely a false idea about that. That is you being in the ego. When you are in the web of a narcissist, you are in the web of the narcissist. So my question to you is, how do you get out of the web of the narcissist? Which could be another video, actually. Had my alarm go off. Okay, let's see. Today's stream is about fracturing and how the different aspects of the body, the soul can be fractured, which is really what most people are contending with, right? We're human, we're on this planet, you got some soul fracturing. That's why so many people are lost off of their purpose, right? They have soul fracturing, they have mental fracturing, emotional fracturing, they're not processing properly or at all, and they're lost. You know, we don't have to be lost. You know, come into your heart. Your heart will guide you always. Cloud Queen, how do I guard myself against a narcissist? I did a whole series on narcissist, Cloud Queen, so I would suggest you go watch that. But I would say that if you have a narcissist in your in your sphere, in your field, in your world, in your experience, you also have a weakness and a vulnerability that attracts that. So if you want to not have a narcissist in your field, you must look at what do you need to heal and what is attracting that to you. You know, it's going to be different. The thing about energy psychology is it's not prescriptive, okay? We all have a unique soul signature in which we come into this world, and we are here to express, and you can see how difficult it is for many of us to express, especially when we've been traumatized. However, that's not a reason to not get into your purpose, right? We are here to express, we are here to learn, we are here to grow. So if you have to guard yourself against a narcissist, I would say you're already armoring up. That means that you're already shutting down aspects of yourself to be in the proximity of these people who are what I would consider potentially unsafe people to be around. So I would really start to look at your sphere of people and who you are exposed to is, are they safe or unsafe? And when they're unsafe, you don't spend time around with them, okay? This channel is strict. I don't know that we're strict. Jimmy, you need to learn how to protect your own inner peace. And I could help teach you. There's lots of videos on here. Cloud Queen, I hope that helped you. Thank you, Eddie. Jimmy, I don't do therapy. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I do energy psychology, and I do one-on-one sessions if you're interested. Baby Jean is saying, my grandson is hardcore fan, but he is more in his dreams. How can I get him back? I don't understand your question. Eddie, already married. Sorry, go somewhere else. Hello, Netherlands. Hi, Mark. Just looking for questions here. Sam, what are the signs that indicate a person's spiritual energy is out of balance? And how could this be restored? It's an interesting question. Well, obviously this discussion today is about fragmentation, but you're asking specifically, how do you know if your spiritual energy is out? So I would say everything is spiritual energy. Everything is energy. If it is in your world, there is an existence of energy. So there's not spiritual energy. There's not a distinction between energy and spiritual energy. Everything is energy. But what you're asking is about specifically spiritual energy. And, you know, you have a spiritual body, so I don't know if that's what you're talking about. So I would just look at, how do you know? I'm just going to answer the question how I'm interpreting it, okay? Because your question says, what are the signs that indicate a person's spiritual energy is out of balance? Okay, so let's just say this. All energy is energy. There's not a distinction in my perception between spiritual energy mental energy. Those are bodies of energy within our body. So what you want to know is when something is out of balance, and that's going to be, you're going to have repeating patterns and you're going to have incongruence. So how do you know when there's incongruent? Okay, so this is a good question. How do you know when something's incongruent or when people are incongruent? So for me, I could feel it. I feel the incongruence in my body. So if somebody sends me a message or an email, I could feel it. And then I'd have to go back and see, because I'm reading underneath the energy that people are sending. So that's one thing. Two, you can look at incongruence with our people's words in alignment with what they are doing. So you want to look for that balance. And that will tell you if somebody is out of balance or not. The other thing you want to look for is, do their words and their actions, that would be one thing. Do they, I want to say, do they say what they're going, do their values, what they say, line up with what they are doing? So then there will be a values distinction. So you would look at what they say they value and do they really value that? That would be another way to see incongruence. But, people usually will show you by their behaviors and their words. That's the first indication. Like, for example, we have some friends and they will say, they will say what they want it to be, not what it is. So that's an incongruence. So they will state, and I think it's kind of a twist on the law of attraction, and they think because they're saying it, it's true. And if you say something enough, it will become true, but that's incongruent. You want to embodiment is what we're here to do. So that's a big piece of fragmentation, is that there's a lack of physical embodiment of energies, and that causes even more fragmentation, if that makes sense. Sam, I hope I helped with that question. I'm not sure I did. Can this be restored? 100%. Anything that you are experiencing, there is a potential, I believe, to be healed. I believe in miracles. I see them. I experience them. And I know you can too. Miracles are based on your expression of the potential. And I believe that miracles absolutely exist every day. And we can be aligned. Okay. I do not know who Sarah J is. Jimmy, I have no idea. Hi, Lucas. Good to see you here. We all have special needs. You're not alone. Ryan, thank you. The picture in the back he's commenting on. We're talking about fragmentation today, and it's a big topic. Lucas is saying he has special needs and it's very hard for him. Who I am every day. I am not giving up. Good for you, Lucas. You can't give up. You gotta find the silver lining. We gotta look for who we are and look and see how you can grow and evolve into your heart. That'll make it easier. Connect with your heart, Lucas, every single day, multiple times a day. The life with live, hang Chris. I'm not sure what that means. He's a supervisor. What's some good daily advice? Intention setting. I have a whole class on intention setting to synchronicity every single day, all day. And there's even a challenge class if you're interested. I highly suggest you do the intention setting class. Every Anybody that is leading others should be doing intention setting. Anybody who wants to make a significant change in their life and become more attuned to their experience, intention setting. Okay, Peter, I don't know if you have any comments here. I have to go down. Let's see. Scrawny death. I try to, just for all the people that are on here listening and writing in the chats, I just want you to know, if you are writing something that you think is going to hurt me, it can't hurt me. But what you are doing is diminishing your essence. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. The reason why that is so is because you diminish your essence. I'm just reflecting back to you. Kanish is asking, do I believe in God? I absolutely do. Zachary, thank you. Girlish Bill Moore official. Why don't I meet God directly? You have to build a direct relationship with God. Peter, when I was little, it was as if I was here before. I have a birthmark on the side of my head, patch, no hair. It's like a bullet wound to my head. My ancestors did war a lot. Wow, Peter, that's quite profound. Well, I would, it sounds like you have some experience with past lives already. So I would just make sure that, that you go to that direct experience and make sure that all aspects of it are healed. And you could sense that through your heart. So see how that feels to you. Ian, I have a special September special. He's saying he would like to have a one-on-one session. I have a September special. So reach out and we can get you on a schedule. Good or bad, everyone that we meet is for a reason. We came to earth to learn lessons. Good or bad is a judgment, which is one of the things that we're contending with here on earth, is that we have our ego mind that makes judgments. So I'm doing my best to not go into judgment. I would suggest the learning would be much easier if you didn't go into judgment. Zach, go ahead. You could reach out for a session. Oh, not that kind of session. Yikes. I am a supervisor and I'm around all types of energy all day. Do I have some advice? Yes, I said intention setting. And if that's not good enough for you, accept everybody. Accept them. Even you don't have to like what they're doing or not like what they're doing. Just don't get into judgment about your employees. Akeem is saying, God and the devil energy is not real. Stop talking. I don't even know what you're talking about. God and devil? I don't know what you're saying here. I didn't say anything about the devil. But you are. So you might be having a real experience. Nobody 7, good to see you here. How about having a toxic coworker conversation? Well, first of all, nobody 7, I would certainly think the conversation with your coworker would be much more productive if you didn't have the judgment of them being toxic. What I would suggest is that people may have toxic behaviors, but we don't want to look at people as toxic, if at all possible. You can have, what's the conversation you want to have? Conversations are good learning opportunities. But I would suggest using, there's a model of communication called nonviolent non-violent communication. And that is exceptionally, oh my God, it's the best communication model I have seen out there with how to have difficult conversations. And so somebody who has toxic behaviors, they're not going to be an easy person to talk to. So you could use this model to be more clear in how and what the conversation is going to be about. Okay, I think I answered your question. Use the model of nonviolent communication, and that essentially is, you want to be very clear about what is it that you're communicating. What is it specifically that you want to, do you want to have a conversation? Do you want it to be a back and forth? Do you want it to be, you have to be very clear about what you want to experience. What is the experience that you're having? So nonviolent communication requires that basically you go first. You say what the problem is, say how the problem is making you feel, and then you essentially decide how you want to navigate that with this person, and then you decide to whether you're going to move forward with them. There's 4 steps to the communication model, and if you do all 4 steps, you will have a highly successful conversation. It may not be the outcome that you like, but the conversation will be productive. David is saying, I come across as condescending. You're the first one to say that, David. I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't feel like I'm being condescending. I don't mean to be condescending, so I don't know how I'm coming across condescending. I'm married, Cal. I do not, Michael's asking, do I use medicines to enhance my life? No. I mean, I use homeopathic medicines, I use flower essences, I use those types of medicines to enhance my life. I use food and herbs. Do you consider that medicine? If so, then yes. Do I use traditional medicines? No. Do I use plant medicines? I have in the past. I am not now. Past meaning last 10 years. I've used those types of medicines. I think that's what you're talking about, Michael. I'm not sure. No, I do not smoke marijuana, and I don't recommend it. I do know a lot of people do that, but I don't think it's beneficial for spiritual growth, although I'm certain that people will have a different opinion about that, which is fine. D-Town Queen B, can I feel someone's energy when I'm around them? Yes. I don't tend to say positive or negative energy, just whether it resonates or not. I really try to look at things as not positive or negative as much as resonant, and whether I enjoyed it, I would like to have another encounter or experience with this person. We went to dinner a couple of weeks ago with a couple, and I was like, the hell if I want to have dinner with that girl again. It just was not a pleasant experience at all. She was very passive aggressive. I just didn't enjoy the dinner experience at all. And this was one of my husband's friends' wives. And I think I have met her once before, and this was the second time meeting, and I'm okay if I don't meet with her again. I mean, if I do, I can be respectful and cordial, and but it's not somebody I would like, I want to meet up with them again. So is that positive or negative? I would just say that we didn't resonate, which is fine. David, I would challenge you. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can keep it moving. You don't have to sit here on the live. I think I'm breathing fine. D-Town, yes, miracles happen. We must be open to miracles. Yeah, the Life with Live, go check out the intention setting program. It's so good. And I put it out there because, you know, most people don't know how to do intention setting, and it's like critical to development spiritually and even manifestation. John G, thoughts on men with abnormally... Sorry, I need to read these questions before. I don't get the core of the topic of fracturing. Okay. This topic was specifically to address the question, when people are having a prolonged distress of emotions which switch off. And fracturing is what happens when we have traumas. So when we have a trauma, it will fracture. So if we don't heal the trauma, the fractures just continue to grow. So I'm talking about many different things on this topic of fracturing. I don't know if that helped you. I was trying to figure out how to name this one. Thank you, The Life with Live. Okay, thank you. I'm glad that was helpful. Joel, these people, I know, they think that they're doing it and they're being cute and funny, but they have no idea how they're doing things to themselves. Okay, Zach is saying, do you fear the advance of AI, and do you think the race for quantum computing is already over? Okay, so Zachary, I really have made big concerted efforts to not be in fear, but to be fearless. So to basically, if something is coming to me as a fear, I'm seeing that as an opportunity to learn, heal, and grow. But not to stay in that frequency of fear, because as you know, fear attracts more fear. So I'm not afraid of AI. I do think it's going to be very dangerous for people that don't understand. And there's a lot of people who are asleep, and they're mostly the ones that are going to get usurped by AI. They use these tools of AI, they use ChatGPT, they stop thinking, they stop using critical thinking. People think they're being entertained by using these virtual reality things, but really their brain is being, the way that their brain is wired is being rewired by these components. So I think it's potentially dangerous for humanity. But I do not believe, I think you asked, do I think the quantum race is over? And I say, hell no, it's not over. Are you kidding? The desperate attacks are upon us, but we're not dusted and done. There's a lot of hope, and I'm betting on humanity to overcome. Now, do I think that we're all going to overcome together? I think there's going to be some people that go through some severe fracturing. Those people who choose to not grow spiritually, those people who choose to not believe in creator energy, source energy, or God will struggle. And they are struggling. They are the ones who are in trauma that don't heal because they're stuck processing intellectually. It's a dangerous thing. There is a whole agenda on anti-life, and it's not just the abortion thing. It is anti-life, anti-Christ, agenda. And basically, the goal is to siphon your consciousness. And most people don't even know what consciousness is. The vast majority of people do not understand consciousness. So they don't, therefore, think it can be siphoned because they don't even know they have it. They don't even know what it is. They think that their thinking is up here in their brain. They don't understand how our energy field works. And so, unfortunately, I think people are becoming more aware. Obviously, I think it's difficult for them because a lot of people don't understand the magnitude of brainwashing. They don't understand the magnitude of conditioning that has happened for generations, going back to what Peter said about in the bloodline, how things have been done throughout our generations that people don't talk about, like curses and black magic, and they, people just do not understand these energies and how they work. And even though I work and live in this field, it really is, the more that you know, the more that you realize that you don't know. So it's a very humbling experience. And I think being humble is a good way to move forward, but you also must be vigilant and aware of what you do know. And so when you know, and you approach things differently. And I think most people don't know, unfortunately, and get stuck in the ego mind and get defensive and angry and hurt, and therefore then they shut down and they don't look, and they don't have conversations with people that are difficult. So they avoid and they procrastinate and they deny. I mean, goes on and on. So I'm going to do a channel video about coping mechanisms. But first, I'm going to go through this list of topics that I have here, and then I'm going to get to that. Oh, Silent, you're here. Hello. Oh, good. I'm glad that you have a sense of direction. Okay. The space of freedom, Nick is saying the space of freedom is huge in nonviolent communication. Nonviolent communication is really about full responsibility on your part of the communication. So many people focus on how the other person is, but they do not pay attention to how they are. And how you present information is has a huge impact. I know that not everybody likes my direct approach. You see that here in the chat. That's okay. We do our best and we learn and we move on. What are the long-term effects of untreated energy, trauma, and psychological fragmentation in an individual's mental, emotional, and spiritual health? Well, it will be illness. Sam, it will be an illness of some kind. There's consequences to non-action. There's consequences to avoidance. There's consequences to denial. And, we do our best to be as aware as we can be. But sometimes if we, like I say with some of my clients, sometimes it's like getting hit over the head with a 2x4. If you're that kind of person, and I would say dense, that's a density where it takes you getting sick before you wake up, well, then that's what will happen. And it's not untreated energy trauma, it's just an unwillingness to heal. I think most people who've been traumatized would want to heal it, but they want to control how the healing happens. And that's just not the spiritual journey. The spiritual journey is not really about control at all. It's not about the ego's desires to handle things a particular way. It's about doing what is needed and required to heal. I think that's different. Sam, I hope I answered that question. Let me know. Thank you for that question. I think it's really good. Just looking for questions. We still need a DNA test. I thought you were going to say something about the DNA. Okay, I was just getting to a question. Zachary says, I've been listening for 25 minutes and I figured out what you are talking about, sketching the drawing. Ooh, I would love to see. Send it over. Why would you ask if she's married? Look at her and listen carefully. Because people think that people ask silly questions in the chat. That's why. Okay. Yes, I'm on Instagram. I don't post that much on Instagram. My favorite drug is love. Zachary, I would love to see the picture. If you post it on Instagram, please tag me. Being in sync at Kiannaa. The Life with Live is asking about playing the same numbers. Why would you keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over again and hope for a different response? My opinion of this energy is that gambling is a sucker's game. And unless you are the one who is managing the game, you will be the one who gets sucked dry. Peter. Okay, so trauma doesn't necessarily have to be psychological, body, nervous system, brain malfunction. Well, trauma will impact all those areas. And trauma, spiritual trauma will directly influence your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Correct. And your nervous system can be hijacked by what somebody else was saying earlier about AI. So there's a lot of nefarious energies that are out there that most people don't understand. Peter, what I would suggest is that you could be experiencing an unhealed, so for example, if you feel like you were hit by a bullet in the head, shot in the head, and you have the physical ramification of that in this life, would say that would be what's called an imprint, right? Not just an energetic imprint, but a physical imprint. So that would be your responsibility to heal it. And I don't think malfunction, I might say misdirection, you say malfunction. Everything is tied. So when our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies are not in alignment, we will have what's called incongruence within ourselves. What causes the misalignment could be a multitude of things, and it could be many things. So when I start working with clients, what I do is first, obviously, I address whatever they want to talk about in a session, but I also share with them what I'm picking up on. If I have clients that come back repeatedly, the way that I work with them and I suggest is let's just make sure we clean things up. So let's get your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies in a way where you're not vulnerable or weak to intrusion. So that means that you can't be misdirected as easily as you maybe have been. So once all those things are addressed, then you get to dive deep into other things. But I address, Peter, in the PEACE program, trauma completely different than what you would get in like a traditional therapy. You don't have to go deep into traumas to heal trauma. When you're doing it energetically, it doesn't work the same way. So traditional therapy, you tell stories, you go into narratives, you go into perceptions. But in energy psychology, you're looking at the energy, and it's not linear. That means it doesn't go in logical ways. So you must address the trauma completely different. And it's much easier, less painful, less stressful, and more enjoyable, and you feel more at ease right away. But traditional therapy, this is not. Mr. White, I'm not sure what you're saying here. Fishing in spider webs. Oh, I'm not sure what that means. Waiting on letters from a dead postman. Interesting. Wow. Adolf is saying that there's a law just passed about no praying. Interesting. How would they actually even do that? I don't know. How would they enforce that? Do I think Adam Collider will play a big role before quantum computing comes to the stable of zero negativity? I don't know who that is, but I think you're talking about 0-point frequency. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Zach. Eric, yes, good to see you. Hello, Jordan. Okay, I'm just going to see if there's any questions here. It's been almost an hour. I'm going to jump off this live here. I'm sorry, there's so much spam on this chat. No, I'm not a therapist, Mr. Martian. Energy psychology. I do, okay, Zach doesn't prefer books for the most part. Gotcha. Okay. Sam. I got the point about the question. Oh, good. Thread. 8 years ago, I dropped a jar. Okay, I'm sorry. There's so much on here. It would be cool if you posted the entirety of this so I could maybe watch a little bit of it. Yeah, everything will be posted. Okay, no questions on fragmentation. It's a big, Peter probably jumped off here, but I wanted to go back and just close this off with, when we have prolonged distress of emotions that get switched off and they don't get turned back on, that's basically, we basically have what's called a biocomputer within us. And those switches that get switched off can be turned back on with consciousness and intention. And you still need to identify the reason why it got switched off. So that would be the most helpful thing. Otherwise, there will be a trigger that can turn it back off. So I hope you found this interesting and helpful on fragmentation. It's such a big undertaking to talk about fragmentation because most people don't really understand that soul fragmentation can be healed. Oh, there you are, Peter. If there's any questions, let me know. So you can begin to do a lot of your healing, Peter, by really connecting with your heart and also connecting with your higher self. If you don't know what that is, you could go back to another video that I have on the higher self. But it's basically that part of ourself that knows past, present, and future. It's part of the technology that we have as humans. And I would suggest calling back all your soul fragments, right? Calling back. So we want to call back all, because we are the rightful owner. So sometimes these aspects get taken, stolen, in different realities. Things happen. I don't want to go into it on this channel, but things happen, and things could be taken or stolen or usurped, turned off, locked up, unlocked. It's the magnitude of what can happen energetically with fragmentation is really beyond our comprehension as we're conditioned. However, the healing is possible, and we can heal ourselves. The more we connect within and we fix those incongruencies, and the quickest and easiest way to begin to fix things in your conscious awareness is to know what it is that you value, to align to your values, to connect to your heart, to be kind to others, and build your spiritual house, and make it strong and bold, and be fearless, right? You want to do your ego work. There's so many things that we could do. Anyhow, I could go on and on and on, as you could tell. I'm just going to see if there's any questions. Thanks for being here, Peter. I don't do therapy, Edwin. Sorry, I do energy psychology. Loss of support, like you mentioned, your mother supporting you. Hey, that's why I created this channel. I created this channel because I knew I couldn't be the only one, and I wanted to help people and give people the support and encouragement and help that I wanted and needed and still need. You know, I tried to find people and therapists and doctors and whatever, and it was a fruitless effort, because so many people are so stifled in their thinking that they can't comprehend I knew what was happening to me. I just didn't know how to fix it. I had to learn how to fix it. You think I wanted to go into this field called the energy psychology? Well, maybe I did. I don't know. I always knew I'd be helping people the way I do. I just didn't know it was going to be this. You know, I did it the standard way, and I did consulting, and I do consulting for teams and corporate, and I did it under the pretenses of coaching. I hid it until I didn't want to hide all of my skills and abilities anymore, and I just said, forget it. I'm not doing it that way. I've been teaching nonverbal communication for years. Why do I teach nonverbal communication? Because that is a context in which corporate would allow me to come in and really teach energy to people, so they can understand that their confidence does not come from their thinking. It comes from their alignment, you know. People don't really get that. And my clients were always still the ones that get promoted the fastest. But the support system, you know, Peter, I'm going to be totally honest. You know, there's not a lot of people that I have found that are open to being encouraging and supporting. They're very controlling, that they want to support you how they see support, not how you may need to be supported. So I created this channel for people like you and me, Peter, people who want to grow and expand and just aren't sure how, and that have different experiences that most people wouldn't understand, like what you shared earlier today. So thank you for your sharing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your for your suggestions and your topics. And I will say that support will show up as you resonate differently. So when you begin to resonate at higher levels of frequencies, and you will have support that will show up. So you're not alone. The fact that you are here shows you that you're going to be vibrating in a different frequency, and you will have other support. My mother was a supportive person, but we had karmic things to work out, you see. Did she support me the best that she knew how? Did she support me how I needed support? I guess, for my learning, but could she have done things different? Sure. I had many conversations with her when she did not support me in a way that I thought was healthy, and it didn't go very well. Who are my favorite composers? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know how to answer. Zachary, you got me. I don't know how to answer that question. Just looking for questions. Sam, can you explain fragmentation, how fragmentation might impact relationships and self-perception? 1,000,000%. That's how much it will impact you. It will distort how you are perceiving. It will distort how you are able to express or unable to express. If you feel unable to express, how will fragmentation impact a relationship? Well, it will impact your ability to be intimate with that relationship, meaning vulnerable or lack of vulnerability. You might not even bring up topics because you don't know how that person's going to react. And so then you're now basing your reaction on something you think might happen, or fear, because you have a trauma of somebody exploding on you in the past, or maybe giving you the silent treatment, or maybe torturing you in another lifetime, or torturing you with silent treatment. Silent treatment is a torture. I mean, that is a hostile act. I mean, don't get it twisted. Anybody who does silent treatment is an angry person. Okay? They are angry and hostile. So I hope that answers your question, Sam. Oh, there's still 18 people here. Gosh, hi, you guys. Thanks for being here. Oh, you're using, Zach, you're using voice text. Nathan, I don't think you wanted to go into the field of energy psychology. You know, people just really don't understand it. But it is what it doesn't mean that it's, you know, a lot of things I've done is before it became popular. So I was coaching before there were coaches, you know, that's how old I am. You know, coaching wasn't even a thing when I started coaching. I've been coaching and consulting. I call it consulting because I find coaching got so watered down. But I was consulting before coaches were even a thing. Alex, I think you might be talking about yourself. Looks like what areas need to be aligned in order to exemplify confidence? Well, Raymond, you should go look at the other video that I talk about how to amplify your energy. But I would say, what areas need to be aligned? You need to be aligned to your heart. If you want to move into confidence faster, you have to learn how to trust your heart. That's the fastest way to increase confidence in my experience. The other thing is you have to be able to go out of your comfort zone. So what is it that you're afraid of? Who are you afraid to talk to? And you need to start going out of your comfort zone in those areas. The Life with Live says, I really appreciate your video. It made my evening better. I'm so happy. It's crazy how a complete stranger can do that. I have to tell you, I am amazed at how this YouTube Live thing works. I'm doing this video series. I'm here every day doing these lives about a different topic. And there's a good person. For every troll, there's a really good person that wants to learn this stuff. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Sam, good night. Thank you for being here. Nick, I have a question. Okay, Nick, one question, then I'm going to jump off here. And Peter, I think I answered that aspect of your question, I hope, on fragmentation. If not, leave me a message later and I'll get to it. But I'm working off of the first message for the next handful of videos. Nick is saying, is understanding the Quran effectively healing therapy? Well, that would be an intellectual understanding of somebody else's interpretation of a wisdom or a belief. So I would suggest that healing would be occurring in your heart and how you're understanding and interpreting the Quran. I would also say that much of the languages have been manipulated. And so, I haven't read the Quran personally myself, but I would say just the language in and of itself has been manipulated and usurped. So I would say that healing is really something that comes from the heart. Okay, Zach, and thank you for being here. I wish I could see the picture you drew if it was actually a picture. Do I use the chakra system as a framework to analyze energy? That's an aspect, but that's not usually where I begin. Certainly we have energy points and centers. We also have meridian system. We also have a circulatory system. We also have organs. We have blood. There's so many aspects. The chakra system is an aspect that's been publicized, but that's not how I do my consults. Raymond. Peter. So things like the silent treatment and hostility can be misunderstood by a child for something being wrong with them. Oh, 100%. Are you kidding me? 100%. You're spot on, Peter. And this is why it's so important for trauma understanding and even how we look at our life, is that what we have experienced as a child, right? Let's just say we are a child. Like my first memory is at 15 months old. That's my first conscious memory. And it's of an argument between my mother and my father. And it was obviously traumatic. But I didn't know at the time, I didn't think of it as traumatic. It was just like what happened in my house, it was volatile. And so I'm just thinking, as a child, I was a telepath, right? So we have all of our unique sensory abilities as a child. We get conditioned out of them. But I was a telepath as a child before I even knew what a telepath was. I was an empath as a child before I even knew there was a word for what I was doing, right? So I didn't know there was a language for my experience until I got older. So then as an adult, as I am reviewing things in my life and healing myself, right? I realized that, oh, when my parents were arguing, I interpreted their thoughts as my own. So I took in that hostility. I took in their thoughts about one another as my own. And it was incorrect to do that. But because we can't discern energetically very easily, especially when we're not educated and nobody talks about it, how do you know to do it? So I had telepath that experience, and internalized that hostility as my own, when in fact I was witnessing it and experiencing it, and I should have never internalized it, but I did because I was a child. I didn't know better. But as an adult, I can witness that whole experience, and from a spiritual experience, a spiritual perception, I could see that entire experience, even though people are fighting and having that energy, I could see it all surrounded in love. So I could heal. You know, when you understand that your entire experience is, even those things that we perceived as negative, toxic, bad, hurtful, trauma, whatever the perception is, even though we might have that perception, we also have the ability to consciously choose and know that everything is of love. And so I actually saw love circling that whole experience, and I experienced it as a healing, not as a trauma. So it's different. So it doesn't have the same impact and influence on me. But that was a good point. The good question. You have a lot of very good questions here, Peter. So yes, we could, as children, misinterpret all kinds of signals. And in fact, as adults, we misinterpret signals all the time. Why? Because we're in our own experience, and our experience is distorted. So if we're perceiving from the ego mind, chances are 100% it's going to be distorted. Anyways. Peter, I think you understood correctly. Thank you for being here, Peter. Thank you for the great, great contribution. I really appreciate you being here. Your questions have really inspired me in ways I didn't imagine. And in my mind, I'm trying to slow down and just do one video a day because there's so much. Raymond, it's very common people don't have or remember their first memory. You're lucky if it's not a trauma. You'd have to go back. You'd have to actually allow yourself to go back. Thank you, Kumar. Zach is saying, just a small forest with a narrow pathway, a red dress slowly fading along the way, through the wave. Good for you, Zach, drawing and enjoying life. I love it. It's the simple things. Good for you. I don't know why age is important. I think people who have a thing with age have a thing with age. I don't. I'm more drawn to wisdom than age. And I don't think that wisdom has to do with age. So, Peter, witnessing is a great word to clean up the past experiences, those internalized and incorporated in our own thinking, self-concept. Yeah. We want to compassionately witness. And I really train myself on that. Hey, Nazir, good to see you here. See you in the chat. Thank you for writing. The only way a person to be free is to be independent from people and be more independent on themselves. That is self-healing. Well, sometimes people need to go on their own and isolate for healing, and sometimes everybody's different, Nazir. Hypnosis is, what are you saying? Hypnosis is inspirational also. I don't do hypnosis. I have friends and clients that do that. I think maybe I did it once, but I did it to pass an exam in college. Sam is asking, can I ask you a question about my situation and healing and motivating oneself? Yeah, ask questions. That's why I'm here. Oh, you agree with me about age? I don't take offense. I think people talking about age is, I don't know what that means for them, but it doesn't mean anything really to me. I think age is a way that we limit others and ourselves, actually. It keeps ourselves from doing things. Hello, Sweden. Okay, y'all, it has been, oh wow, this is a long video. I'm gonna go off now. This topic on fragmentation, I hope it was helpful. My name is Kiannaa Sadge, and my intention in these videos is to bring meaningful content for people who want to learn about their energy and energy psychology and become in sync. I am doing this live series every day, Being in Sync 366 video series every day. So if you have a topic that you want me to cover, please let me know. Oh, Nick, I'm going to add that question to another video. My view on death. It's not the normal view, I promise you that. You guys have an amazing day. My name is Kiannaa Sadge, and I guide people to peace. If you're interested, I have a September special. You can reach out on kiannaa.com and have a great day.